In this lab, we are looking at the effect of solution temperature on reaction speed. The effect of solution temperature on reaction speed. In this lab, we're going to be using a percentage of acid that is about at 10%. There are going to be 3 test tubes. One test tube 1 rather, is here, and it's sitting in a beaker of ice cold water. It's been in for about 5 minutes, but it has about 5 milliliters of 10% hydrochloric acid in it. This is test tube 2. It also has 5 milliliters of 10% hydrochloric acid, but it's at room temperature. The third test tube is over here. It's sitting in a beaker of hot water, and it's been in for about 5 minutes as well. And it too has 5 milliliters of a 10% solution of hydrochloric acid. Now, if this is a 10% solution of hydrochloric acid, that means that let's say we have 100 milliliters of this 10% solution. How much of that is actually acid and how much of that is actually water? If you guessed that 10 milliliters of the solution is actually acid, then you're correct. In a 100 milliliter sample or volume of this, 10 milliliters would be acid and 90 milliliters would be water. Okay, let's start. I'm going to remove the acid from the cold. I'll set it here. I'm going to remove the test tube from the hot, and I'll set it here. I have 3 magnesium strips, and the magnesium strips are about 1 centimeter each. Again, I'm going to put them into our acid, and then we'll start the timer. If I can grab them here. Okay, put the timer on. As you can see, the reaction has started. So all are reacting. Obviously you can see several things that indicate a chemical reaction is taking place in each test tube. And it looks like the hot is done. It's about 36 seconds. The room temperature was done at about 42 seconds. And the cold one is still going. We'll see how long it takes. Okay, looks like the cold test tube is done. Test tube 1 is done, and it was at about 1 minute and 12 seconds. Okay, so as you can see, the warmer the acid, the faster the reaction takes place. The warmer the acid, the faster the reaction takes place. The colder the acid, the slower the reaction takes place. Now, can you relate this perhaps to something that we studied during our first quarter of 8th grade science? Perhaps the kinetic molecular theory of matter? I think there's a question on your lab that asks you to make that connection. Also think about variables. What are some variables that were at work here? What was the independent variable? What was the dependent variable? And think of some other controlled variables. Okay, so basically use what you've seen in this lab demo to complete your lab worksheet on the effect of solution temperature on reaction speed.